Have you ever thought about how much plastic you encounter in your daily life? It's more than you might think. Every day we're surrounded by a silent intruder, microplastics. These are tiny particles smaller than 1 millimeter, often invisible to the naked eye, yet they're everywhere. From the plastic bag at your local grocery store to the cosmetics in your bathroom cabinet, microplastics are lurking. They're in your exfoliating face scrub, your toothpaste, even your clothes. That's right, synthetic textiles and the wear of your car tires also contribute to this microscopic swarm. They're so pervasive that you might be surprised to know that you're not just using plastic, you're likely consuming it, inhaling it, and wearing it without even knowing. It's a hidden world, a microscopic universe that's infiltrated our lives in ways we're only beginning to understand. So the question is, what sort of impact are these microscopic particles having on our health and our environment? Scene script. Microplastics lurk in many of our daily essentials, and you may not even know it. Take a moment to consider the sheer abundance of plastic in your life. It's in your shopping bags, your food packaging, and even in the clothes you wear. But one of the most surprising and hidden sources of microplastics comes from the cosmetic industry. Those tiny beads that give your face scrub its grit, those are microplastics. In fact, microbeads are a common ingredient in many personal care products, from toothpaste to shower gels. When we rinse these products off, the microbeads flow down the drain and eventually end up in our oceans, causing untold harm to marine life. But the cosmetic industry is not the only culprit. Synthetic textiles are another significant source of microplastics. Every time we wash our synthetic clothing, thousands of tiny plastic fibers shed off and make their way into our water systems. Over time, these fibers accumulate, posing a serious threat to aquatic ecosystems and eventually entering our food chain. And let's not forget about tire wear. Each time we drive our cars, tiny particles of tire rubber, a form of microplastics, are worn off and washed into our waterways. These particles are so small that they can easily be ingested by wildlife, causing harm to both the animals and the ecosystems they inhabit. It's a stark reality to face. Microplastics are everywhere, even in places you'd least expect. They are in the products we use, the clothes we wear, and even in the air we breathe. And while they might seem invisible and harmless to us, they are causing monumental problems for our planet. By understanding the hidden sources of microplastics, we can start to make more informed choices about the products we buy and use. Small changes like choosing natural fabrics over synthetics, or picking toothpaste without microbeads, can make a big difference. It's a hidden world of plastic we are living in, and it's high time we become more aware. Now that we know where microplastics come from, let's delve into how they can potentially harm us and our planet. Microplastics, these minuscule invaders, may seem inconsequential due to their size, but their impact on our world is anything but. Their small size allows them to infiltrate ecosystems unnoticed, wreaking havoc in ways we're just beginning to understand. Imagine a world where every breath you take, every move you make, you're interacting with these tiny particles. They're in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even the food we eat. They have the ability to penetrate deep into our lungs, a place where they have no business being. Over time, they can cause respiratory issues, which might start as a simple cough, but could escalate to more severe conditions. But the harm doesn't stop at us, adults. It's our children who are particularly vulnerable to these harmful effects. Their developing systems are less equipped to handle these foreign invaders. A child's innocent act of brushing teeth could expose them to microplastics if their toothpaste contains microbeads. The joy of playing with their favorite plastic toy could turn into a health risk if the toy starts to break down and release the microplastics. And what about our environment, our beautiful planet? Microplastics are like an invasive species, disrupting the balance of ecosystems. They can be mistaken for food by marine animals, causing physical harm and introducing toxic compounds into the food chain. Our beloved wildlife is under threat, and we are not immune to these effects as we sit atop this food chain. It's a silent crisis unfolding right under our noses, or rather within our noses. It's a crisis that requires our immediate attention and action. We've opened Pandora's box with our reliance on plastic, and now we must face the consequences. Clearly, the invisible threat of microplastics is more significant than we might have thought. With the looming threat of microplastics, how can we as individuals make a difference? The power of conscious consumption can't be understated. It's about making informed decisions on what we buy and how we use it. It's about understanding that every little thing we consume, from the food we eat, the clothes we wear, to the products we use daily, leaves an impact on the environment. And it's about recognizing that we can make a difference. Recycling is one of the most effective ways to combat the microplastic menace. It's not just about tossing your plastic bottles into the right bin, it's about understanding that recycling is a chain reaction. Every time we recycle, we're reducing the need for new plastic production, which means fewer microplastics entering our ecosystems. But conscious consumption goes beyond recycling. It's about reducing our plastic use in the first place. Consider this. If we all switched from plastic toothbrushes to bamboo ones, we would prevent billions of toothbrushes from ending up in landfills or our oceans every year. Small changes like these can have a profound impact on our planet. Moreover, conscious consumption is about supporting businesses that prioritize sustainability. By choosing products that don't use microbeads or are packaged in biodegradable materials, we're voting with our wallets for a greener world. However, it's essential not to be overwhelmed by the scale of the problem. Yes, the issue of microplastics is vast and complex. But remember, every action, no matter how small, contributes to a larger collective impact. Think of it as a drop in the ocean. Alone, it may seem insignificant, but together, all our drops can create a wave of change. So let's make a conscious effort to understand the implications of our consumption choices. Let's aim to make better decisions that will not only benefit us, but also the world we live in. Let's recycle more, waste less, and choose sustainable options whenever possible. Remember, every small step towards conscious consumption counts. Tackling microplastics is not just an individual's responsibility, but a collective one. Microplastics have made their way into our lives in such a subtle manner that it's easy to overlook their presence. Yet their impact on our health and our environment is far from subtle. These tiny particles, measuring less than 1 millimeter in size, are a formidable adversary. However, the fight against them is not one we should face alone. The battle against microplastics calls for unity, for a collective effort. Individuals, businesses, governments, we all have a role to play in this. It's not just about making changes in our personal lives, like choosing products free of microbeads or recycling diligently. These actions are important, yes, but the issue at hand is larger and it requires larger solutions. Businesses, for instance, can rethink their manufacturing processes, exploring alternatives to microplastics in their products. Innovation and sustainability can go hand in hand, creating products that not only serve their purpose but also protect our planet. Governments, on the other hand, have the power to enact policies that limit the use of microplastics, encouraging a shift towards more sustainable practices. They can provide incentives for clean technology, invest in research, and implement strict waste management regulations. But let's not forget that change can also come from us, the people. By making conscious choices, by raising our voices, we can influence businesses and governments. We can demand change, and together we can create it. The urgency of protecting the planet from microplastics cannot be overstated. These tiny particles may seem insignificant, but their impact is huge. They threaten our ecosystems, our health, our future. But in this collective effort, there is hope. By working together, by uniting our forces, we can find sustainable solutions. Remember, every action counts, no matter how small. Each one of us holds a piece of the puzzle, and together we can complete the picture. Together we can turn the tide against microplastics and safeguard our planet for future generations. Microplastics are a silent, unseen threat that we must address. These minuscule particles, smaller than a grain of sand, are infiltrating our daily lives, hiding in our cosmetics, our clothing, even in the tires of our cars. The repercussions are vast and worrying, affecting not just the environment but also human health. Children especially are susceptible to the harmful effects, with microplastics capable of breaching deep into their lungs and causing respiratory problems. But there's hope. Through conscious consumption, choosing products without microplastic beads, opting for natural fibers over synthetic ones, we can significantly reduce our personal contribution to plastic waste. Recycling too plays a crucial role, yet this is bigger than any single one of us. It calls for a collaborative effort involving individuals, businesses and governments alike to find sustainable solutions and protect our planet. So let's spread the word. Let's take action. It's time to rethink plastic for our health, for our environment, for our future.